Howdy folks, welcome back to 50 Nautical Mile Arc. Today we are going to fly leg 9 of our Transcontinental series. And here we are. This is a daytime view the morning after, well, it's a few days after our horrible crash landing at the same airport. We got the airplane fixed. It was salvageable. No serious injuries, but we came from over this town. And you can't really see the hills from here, but there are hills there that we had to navigate, which caused a very difficult landing. And I'm actually going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about two things before we get started. First, I'm going to talk about why our landing ended up being as bad as it did. And then I'm going to talk about the approach in this aircraft now that the model is updated. I know we're starting in a weird spot, but it's not a modeled airport, and there aren't any ramp starts, so I had to drag the plane over here, and there's some glitchy thing with the map, and that's the only place I could plop the plane down, is right there. So we're just going to have to live with it, and we'll be fine. But, so what happened last time? So if you remember, we used GPS, and we used the approach in the GPS, and what had happened was the GPS brought us way over that way, off the tip of the nose, and gave us a nice big U-turn, but it put us just behind those buildings for a very, very short final, and we were very high because you can't tell from here, but that terrain goes up very steep. So we didn't have a chance. We had no chance of landing. We could not land up with the runway. Our speed was way too high, which we'll talk about in a moment. And I should have just gone around. Instead, I tried to land. We bounced around, hit some birds, blew a tire, blew an engine. So if you haven't seen that video, I recommend you check it out. It's leg 8, posted just before this video. We also got to land in low visibility, nighttime fog. It was awesome. It was like a horror film in Flight Simulator. So what was supposed to happen when I reviewed the charts was we were supposed to come from that way, nice and low, between these hills that you can't really see because there are trees in the way. And then the final leg was supposed to be a visual approach from about there, straight off the far wing. And there was a nice gradual approach, yet steeper than the other part, the GPS part of the glide slope, and then the visual part was steeper. But we were supposed to be lined up many, 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 many miles away from this airport to have a nice, gentle approach with plenty of time to line things up, but it just did not work out that way. So I want to blame the GPS, because GPS did set us up for disaster, but it's still my fault for not doing a go-around and just landing visually. But I didn't know the area. It was completely foggy, could hardly see a thing, didn't know the area, didn't know the terrain. All I saw were these building tops lit up that now look very unthreatening, non-threatening during the day, but it was pretty bad during the flight. But it was a fun video. I decided to keep it. I decided not to redo the flight. Just the nature of flight simmer. It can't always go as planned. So the other thing I want to talk about is the approach in this. So if you remember when I flew the X-Plane 10 version of this aircraft in X-Plane 10, everything was fine. I had my approach speed nailed to a T, and I landed just fine every time. And then I started flying this aircraft in X-Plane 11, or the X-Plane 10 version of this aircraft in X-Plane 11. I was having problems. I was stalling at like 120 knots. It was just terrible. And so I found an approach chart based on weight, and that's where I got my speeds from. And it worked. Seemed to. It was a little fast, but I didn't stall. So then I got the X-Plane 11 version of this aircraft, which you're looking at right now, in X-Plane 11, which you're looking at right now. And it just seems too fast to land based on my weight chart. So I looked up the real world specs for this plane. At maximum landing weight, which is 15,800, you're supposed to, it'll stall at 84 knots. And that's why if you come in here and look at the white arc ends at 84 knots. Because if you're at max landing weight, you won't stall until you get that slow. So I should be able to approach much slower like I used to in X-Plane 10 with this aircraft. Now you're supposed to approach at 104 knots at max landing weight, which we'll start to do, and it changes everything. I'll be able to land nice and slowly again, and it makes a lot more sense. So I guess I had forgotten the reason why I was landing at such high speed was because X-Plane 10 model and X-Plane 11 was stalling at 120 knots and was giving me problems. But this is the correct aircraft for the correct sim with the correct specs, and we should be able to land nice and slowly just fine. I also read a lot of real-world pilots do not land with flaps in this thing unless it's a very short runway, because apparently it's very, very difficult to control with flaps in real life. So they'll put the flaps out at the last possible minute if they even have to. So I don't know if that's true or not. That's just what I read. It may be a bunch of hogwash, but anyway, we may or may not implement that aspect, but I am going to implement a much, much slower approach and landing, just like I used to in X-Plane 10, and hopefully we'll get this thing back under control, and that's all I can really say. So those were the two things I wanted to talk about. Again, if you're not watching the series, those things probably won't mean much to you, so I recommend you watching at least leg 7 and 8, maybe 6, 7, and 8, in addition to this one, and then it'll make a lot more sense what I'm talking about. That being said, it is time to move forward. We're halfway through our trip across the United States from West Coast to East Coast. We started on the West Coast of California. We're going to go to the eastmost airport I could find in the state of Maine. We're about halfway across, so we are in downtown Springfield, Missouri, 3 Delta Whiskey. And we're going to take off on runway, I already lined this up, I can't remember what I said, 29, right? Yeah, runway 29. We're going to do GPS all the way. We're going to do a GPS approach on runway 2 at Perryville, Missouri. And that is Kilo Papa Charlie Delta. And clear skies. The METAR for real life right now says 0 winds, with only 3 knot winds at our destination. The sim, however, disagrees. The sim says 21 knots. Which is a far cry from 0 knots in real life. And I just updated real world weather in the sim, so I don't know why it's so off. It's always off. And not always one direction either. Like, for example, today, real world, 0 knots, 3 knots landing. Here in the sim, 21 knots. I've had it before where it's like 25, 30 knots in real life, and it's like 5 knots in the sim. So I don't know where it gets its information. I kind of want to look that up. I think it'll be interesting. So anyway, I do plan on doing runway 2 at their destination. If the sim weather is different than real life, I'll have to make a change. So I have both charts this time for both instrument approaches. But that is the plan. That's what we're going to do. We have spent plenty of time talking. So it is time to start this up. Again, I apologize that this thing is sitting in a weird spot, but like I said, the map was glitchy and I can only drag the aircraft to this exact spot. So anyway, it is time to get going. So external power is on, lights are on, everybody can see everything like normal. Our frame rates are still really high now that I fixed a bunch of stuff, but that's what it looks like with all the lights on, including emergency lights while people are boarding. We need to, though, get our fuel going. So 2 hours. I have yet to have a 2-hour leg. They've all been like 45 minutes. But this, I did check the distance. It's 49-minute flight last time. This is an additional 80 or 84 nautical miles. So we are going to actually keep about 2 hours. I guess we could come down to maybe 145, but we're going to keep it 2-hour flight time because we're adding another, 80% longer. Real world weather, it's 4. I started the sim at before 4 o'clock local. Now it's 4:15. It's been taking a long time to get this prepared and going. I didn't want to have a nighttime flight again because I think I've had a couple of those now. So we're just going to have a plain old late afternoon flight, clear skies, real world weather though. Can't do anything about the clear skies. But that's just how it's going to be. So let's hide our yoke and let's get our battery turned on right now. Then our avionics switch like normal. I already have the lights the way I want them, but I am going to turn down the avionics a little bit because that blue, if it does get dusk, that blue is way too much. So we'll turn that down halfway. Turn on the recog. Actually, we're going to turn on nav too because we're sitting at the end of the runway. What else are we going to do here? We're going to pull down the autopilot to turn on EFIS. And then we're going to get our flight plan going while people are finishing boarding. So flight plan, let's clear out this disaster from last time. And go here, hit enter, and there we go. Push the, whoop, no. I hit, oh, come on. Push cursor, there we go. 3DW can stay. Now I'm going to enter the approach by hand because 0 out of 5 times using the built-in GPS approach has worked. 0 times, but by hand it always does. So we're doing runway 2. Our first waypoint then to enter the approach is ACDIV, whatever that means. Remember, in the United States, these waypoints actually mean something. They're usually nicknames and such for the area. The easiest example would be Disney. The waypoints there are named after Disney characters. In Duluth, Minnesota, one of the waypoints is Cirrus because, hard to do this at the same time. ACDIV North. So they're calling Missouri North, huh? Okay. I guess we are moving along. Hope that's the right one. That's what it says. 160 miles. Okay. Yeah, that's about right. So then we have Degvizi, whatever that means. So anyway, they mean something. In Duluth, Minnesota, there's Cirrus because that's where Cirrus is headquartered. There's more to the Cirrus. I can't remember what comes before Cirrus, but there's like a whole sentence up there. The approach for runway 27 up there. I don't think you need me to see me do all these waypoints, so I'm going to quick catch you at the end of this GPS setup. And why isn't our airport in here? Kilo Papa Charlie Delta. Kilo Papa Charlie Delta. Every resource I have has it, so fine then. Let's how do we back out of this? Let's look at the flight plan. How do we back out of this? There we go. I mean, we can get to Javov, and then from there it's straight onto the runway. So, weird. Very weird. Alright, so we just review. We enter the pattern at 3,000, and then we go down to 1240, and that'll bring us 2 miles from the airport, nautical miles. We have to make a decision at that point. At Java, we have to make a decision. Looking at AC Div to Java, it's a 9-mile approach there, plus 2 more to the runway. So 11-mile approach. If this works out right and my GPS doesn't go flaky, that's 11 miles straight in approach. Should be much simpler than last time. Let's go direct to AC Div. Come back out here. And there we go. And what's it going to do? Too far away yet to tell. Oh, there's our turn. Okay. And 11 miles in, if it goes as planned. Okay, autopilot. Let's do 17,000 today. And I read that 17,000 is the EOI. I believe it's EOI. That means if there's one engine that fails, service ceiling is 17,000. Only service ceiling is 33,000 feet in this thing. That blows my mind. But anyway, back to what we were doing. Oh yes, CDI. There we go. Radios and instruments, nothing to worry about there. Barometer in the sim, because I clearly don't trust. I just don't trust the wind, but we have to go with what the sim says. Barometer, no, not my aircraft. Airport, please. 3014 for the altimeter. 30. Oh, gall. 3014. That is what it said, right? 3014. Okay. All right. How about here? Ooh, that's a good shot. Let's just keep it like that. And let's close doors. Static elements, including the cockpit door. There we go. Parking brake is set. I'm going to come over here and look that way. I cannot wait to get extra presets in X-Plane 11.10. There we go. Get all this stuff going, reset that. Props to feather is the big one there. And we're ready to get this thing started up. So engine igniter, we'll do the right side first. As soon as our turbine gets to 15, we introduce fuel. In real life, you would do just the right conditioner about quarter of the way. But for the sake of the simulation, I'm just going to introduce full fuel at 15, which is right now. And both conditioners will go up because they're both on one axis on my yoke. And we have prop rotation, so we'll turn on the right generator. We'll start the left engine. And this one will just kick on right away because the conditioner's already forward. And prop rotation, and you can confirm back there. Alright, whoops, wrong preset. Let's do the other generator. Close the cover. AC bus, right and left. Rudder boost between the seats. Climate controllers over here. Blowers, temp, furnace, and we'll do manual cool and decrease so it gets to be about 68 degrees in here. While we are down here, we'll test overspeed and we'll test stall. And we'll put the yoke back in. Right, I don't need anything else there. No, I don't. I guess we can get some air back there until I'll just get them more comfortable for now. Alright, pressure. Air bleeds on. We're going to cruise at 17,000 today, so we're going to change this to 18,000 right in the middle of that window. And for the sake of the sim, this is going to go all the way clockwise. You would not do that in real life, but for the simulator, we kind of have to. Come back up here. Auto feather goes to arm. There we they go up, right? I can't really tell from here. Yes, goes to arm. Generator ties closed. Stall warning, pitot hot heat, anti-ice to normal. And prop sync on. There we go. So autopilot set up now. We already did 17,000 feet. So for autopilot, we are going to use nav, which will follow our GPS. Let's do this differently. Let's use heading first. We're going to climb. And I double checked 22,000 feet. It's a steep climb, but it's capable. So 22,000 feet vertical speed. And I'll select and we'll use heading bug at first. TCAS, did that turn on? There we go. TCAS is on. Taxi lights will come on. Let's just do landing lights too, since we're right around the corner. And we'll turn our collision to strobe. And we'll turn off the floodlights and the overhead lights and put emergency exit to normal. And then just in case, again, this will be a preset eventually, but that's what our cabin now looks like. And ready for takeoff. All right, so now we are going to taxi. Ooh, we hear the props change. We're going to taxi like 10 feet onto the runway. Because it's right here. Alright, simple short taxi. Again, no throttle. It just takes off on its own with those props like that. So let's stop. Oh, no. We gotta get lined up with runway heading here. There you go. Let's stop there. Set the parking brake. Bring the props back a second so we can hear that awesome sound. Autopilot, we're going to set the heading bug so we can engage it right away. And flaps down, which we normally would have done during our taxi, but we didn't really have a taxi. And then the last thing is trim for takeoff, which I think is actually supposed to be more like that. I can't remember which one it is. It's not supposed to be exactly the center, I don't think. I think it's actually supposed to be like up here, like the second line, I think. I used to know, I just forgot. Alright, so we're ready to go. So let's come down here, put our yoke back in, start our flight time right now. And it's running, plus there's a red light up here so you know. And take the parking brake off, hold the brakes, props forward, you hear them change, and fuel full throttle. We don't need to hold the brakes, we'll just roll because we have a very long runway and we are way below landing weight even, so we can We can take off now. Rotate. Upsy daisy. Any day now. There we go. Wow. Gear up. Flaps up. And we're going to line up heading bug and autopilot engaged. Let's just fly over here a minute and have a look. Holy cow, does that look nice. And why am I on fire? What? Am I on fire? How can I be on fire? I didn't even do anything wrong. Fire loop. How can I be on fire? I'm just going to turn that off. You can come up here, go to failures, I think. Engines. Why do I have a fire? I'll explain this in a second. Whoops. That doesn't make any sense. Done. Apply. Are we still on fire? Why are we still on fire? Anyway, the way this is supposed to work is you have 5 minutes to get your torque back and your props back. I don't understand why are we on fire already? That makes no sense at all. Alright, well now I don't understand. Let me get this situated and then we'll talk about what I'm talking about. Alright, we'll bring the torque back. Or the turbines back till the torque is in the green. And props back. There we go. And we need to get back on track with our GPS. So let's get our heading bug turned. Pretty much have to turn us all the way around. So we'll go like that until we start intercepting our GPS track. And then we'll change autopilot from heading to nav. But let's just have a look quick, and I'll talk about this fire thing. So what's supposed to happen is you have 5 minutes to bring your throttles and props back before you start on fire. And you have everybody, you've all seen me do that same procedure like 70 times. So that's not a problem. Why were we starting on fire now and never before? The only thing I can think of is because of this. When I turn that to generator, did that cause my fire? Because I reset failures and they still failed, but then I turned off the generator and the fires went away. So maybe that caused my fires. If I go to battery then? I guess I don't understand this. I thought I did. Clearly, oh, then there's inversion. Oh boy. Clearly I have no idea what I'm doing with that. We'll just see if that causes fires. Well, all of our warnings are out. Anyway, alright, well, we're back on track. Let's just double check everything. So if we go back to our engine management, green, that's fine. We're climbing. Once we start intercepting the path of the GPS and our HSI, we will switch over from heading to nav on the autopilot. Otherwise, we are climbing to 17,000 feet. And that's all there is to it. I don't really have much more to say about this flight. It's just over Missouri. Flat, Midwest. I have nothing to say. Perfectly clear weather with perfectly clear... just whatever. There's not much to say. I'm trying to think of something interesting to say, and I don't have anything interesting to say. Let's get some frames back from that, though. Oh, well, I guess our fire is interesting. I guess we can turn landing lights off now. Otherwise, let's just enjoy the mega high frame rates. Because that's all I have to say. So, as soon as we level off, I'll come back and I'll calculate our VNAV for vertical, or for our top of descent. So, a little bit of sightseeing. We'll break up the sightseeing today. We'll do some sightseeing. I'll do a few more things, sightseeing, a few more things. So I will catch you in a couple thousand feet. Alright, that was a very short sightseeing. We're going to send our GPS to nav now, so that we intercept and return, which we are. Let's have a look out the window for that. There we go. I timed it pretty well. We didn't have to turn much. Alright, let's set our VNAV. So we want to do... What do we want to do? We want to hit 2200. It's going to be this one. There we go. We want to do 2200 mean sea level at Deg V, which is right there. And we're going to descend at 1,000 feet per minute. So that half an hour is going to go down very quickly once we level off. So just double check, 2,200 feet means sea level at Deg V. We'll actually be setting autopilot lower than that though. 1,000 feet per minute. There we go. And I did that wrong, didn't I? There we go. Wow, are we coming up on 17,000 already? We sure are. And the sun changed because we have dark cockpit, which is awesome. And just to show you what I was talking about, those blue lights, if I turn these up, see the bright blue lights above the autopilot. Now what? What? Fuel low. Okay, so this happened before. Remember a long time ago? Well, a couple flights ago, I got this low fuel pressure thing. And then there's no reason for it. And then it just went away on its own. I didn't do anything differently. And then it hasn't happened for several flights. And now for this flight, it's back again. Again, I haven't done anything differently. Except the volt thing, which won't affect the fuel, because last time I didn't do the volt thing and we got a fuel thing. And then we've had flights in between without that. So I have no idea. We're not going to crash. It'll just go away on its own. Anyway, let's turn on the avionics again. I don't know, man. I tell ya. Actually, I don't tell ya. I have no idea what's going on. But anyway, we are underway. We are level. We are flying from Missouri to Missouri. Go away. I mean, fuel flow on the gauges is fine. Fuel flow there is fine. All my gauges are right. All my switches are right. Can't tell you. Alright, well, time for some actual sightseeing this time. And then I will see you at top of descent, which is not going to be too long from now, as you can see by that time going down very quickly. So I'll catch you in a couple minutes. Alright, we have 4 minutes to top of descent, so we're going to start getting a few things ready. I was really enjoying the scenery with the change from farmland to this foresty tree coverage, which is super cool. I've talked before about how it's neat to see the terrain change as we make our way across the United States, with the deserty areas and the hills and the mountains, and then farmland back in beginning of Oklahoma, and then just dark forest and a little bit of farms, and now forest again with farms mixed in. So it's changing as we go. And there was one flight a couple legs back when we looked at this view, you could actually see the different layers or levels of dark green as it would go farther away, and well, it's just awesome. So it's very cool. I just wanted to share that with y'all, what I was thinking during the sightseeing. Sorry, the weather isn't very exciting as it has been in the past couple legs, but I guess we're due for a late afternoon clear weather flight with amazing visibility. It's been a long time since we've had, like, I don't say boring, but just normal stuff. And if you noticed, during the cockpit view there, our low fuel did go out, just like I said it would. I didn't do anything, it just went out, or the low fuel pressure, I mean. Just went out just like last time. Not much else to say there. So 2 minutes till descent, or top descent. So let's get going. Our autopilot is going to go all the way down to 1240. Well, we can't do 1240, so we'll go 1200. And that is our decision to go around, or to land or go miss, I should say. So there we go, 1200, but we are planning to descend to 2200 by Degby. So a little different there, but that's how we're going to do that. What else can we do? Not much else to do until we start to descend in a minute here. Well, check out this view. This is awesome. So the farmland is gone now. Now it's just forest area with a few parks and things. I think if we look out the other side, we might see some cities, but let's just enjoy this just for a moment. Would that be a golf course down there, maybe? Just came under the wing. Looks like it could be a golf course. But what a great shot. Man, they've done an amazing job with this. This is HD Mesh version 3, by the way. I'm still running that. I'm not using default scenery. I mean, default mesh. I'm using H3 mesh. The scenery's default. And auto-gen, but... Alright, must be time to descend by now. Descend to target, 980, so we got a couple seconds here before we really have to do anything. Whoops, wrong one. So here we go. We are going to descend 1,000 feet per minute. That's what we got to do. Descend 1,000 feet per minute. Alt select. Nav. We just have to watch our airspeed, so we're going to bring back the throttles a little bit, because look how fast that's climbing. There we go. We caught it just in time. If we come over here, we're going to watch that VSR. That's our actual descent rate we need to be to meet our target, which is 2,200 feet at Degby. So if it gets to be down to 800, I'll adjust it. If it gets to be above, it's never gone above our profile, really. But keep an eye on that. So that's how we will determine our descent rate, right there. So there you go. That's all there's to it. Just keep an eye on airspeed. Make sure we don't go too fast. So we're going to descend for a little bit, and I'll be back when there's something to talk about. So for some reason I cannot find our airport on the map, because I looked on the GPS. We're the same distance from the FAM VOR as the airport is on the other side. And here's KO2, which isn't our airport. Oh my gosh, it is. Wait a minute. So in real life it's KPCD, and then the sim is KO2. Huh. No. There's something strange going on. Anyway, altimeter 3008, we'll go with it. We're close enough. That's going to be interesting to look up in real life. Why is it doing that? So, I already forgot what he said. 3008 on the altimeter. Now I got something to work with anyway. 3008. There we go. Everything is descending nicely. Like I said, you want to be at... Oh, see, VSR is down to 8,300, so we're actually going to bump this now to 800. There we go. And increase throttle a little bit. And that'll keep us on our profile, or VSR, so we'll end up at 2,200 at Degby, yada yada yada. Anything else to worry about? No, just watching our speed. We're getting really close to that red line there. Our GPS should line us up to the runway, what I say, like 11 miles out or something. And then we should be lined up perfectly. So, not much more to say right now, except a couple minutes I'll be back. My time. So let's have a few more quick views before we have to land the plane. Alright, we're coming up on our waypoint very quickly. VSR, we're getting a little too aggressive on our descent, so let's start slowing down. We should slow down now anyway, probably. We're still bumping red line. What is that red line in this at this altitude? No, it's at 250. Okay. Alright, well, we're at 4,000 feet descending. We're going to make that corner very quickly. But we should be good. Is that number going up? Nope, number's coming down. So let's slow down our descent. We're going too quick. So there we go. So we'll do 600 feet per minute. That's going to go crazy. Alright, so landing, let's see. Landing lights are on. A little too early for flaps, a little too early for gear. We have our altimeter set. So now it's just flaps and gear. And manage our descent. There, we finally leveled off. No, we're still not leveled off, but slowing down our VSR. Now it's going in the correct direction. Good. See, begin descent in a minute. We were descending too quickly. We were doing well for many, many, many miles. Also, we just started descending too quickly, probably because we were going so fast. But anyway, let's enjoy some views while we can, because as soon as we kill Autopilot, no more sightseeing, as I say every video. If I don't sightsee, I land the plane just fine. If I do sightsee, we have lots of problems. So no sightseeing once Autopilot is disengaged. Now this should line us up directly with the runway. There we go, 600. Now we have to manage our descent again, or we're not going to come down fast enough. Because we need to be at 2,200 in 2 minutes. So if we look out here, there should be an airport out there. Let's bring out the binoculars and look. There it is. Exactly as it should be, right past that farm. So, again, when I input my GPS manually, everything's fine. Ooh, look at that sun. What's it going to look like out here? We're just before sunset. Just before sunset. So anyway, do we have time to sightsee? I think we do. Let's keep our speed up a little bit. Getting a little slower than we need to. How's our VSR looking? Good. We're going to have to switch it pretty soon, or we are going to be descending not quickly enough again. So we got 1 minute or 3.2 miles to get down to 2,200, so we're a little high. So let's slow down our speed a little bit. Let's let Autopilot do the work for us, though. There we go. That's stopped moving, so we're going to be fine right now. Alright, let's do our last bit of sightseeing here. Ooh, look at that. Before we have to land the plane. Isn't that amazing? Let's just soak that in a second, shall we? Wow. Just wow. Let's check that out. So obviously town is on the other side. Alright, there's a runway up there. Do we need to autopilot yet? Nope, not quite yet. Are we going to end up on target? Is this freaking out yet? There we go. As we get closer, that's going to be crazier and crazier. Which direction is it going? Alright. 10 seconds to get to 2200, and we are right there now. So let's bring this up to 600 feet per minute. And it's time to land the plane. So let's have one more look before we bring down gear. Let's actually take a screenshot of this. We don't have any low ground screenshots. Let me see here. There's a runway right in front of us. Very nice. Okay. Kill autopilot. Let's slow this thing down. Gear can come down now. There we go. Lots and lots of drag. We'll introduce flaps in a moment. Props forward. And first set of flaps, and we're going to float like crazy. If I can help it, there we go. I kept under control, actually. Alright, a little bit of throttle. And we are going to land nice and slowly. We will do 2 sets of flaps. Look at that nice forest. Wow. Alright. Approach flap set. Everything, landing lights, gear should be down in green, and it is. A little more throttle. Second set of flaps. We're going to float like crazy unless I can help it. There we go. I kept under control. It's so much easier to land when you have a nice approach. Well, that's a cool looking mountain hill thing. Alright, so slow down a little bit more. Looks like this airport is not modeled. I'm sorry, but we do have a nice farm to look at. Alright, we're going to approach at 104. We're sinking a bit here. Keep throttle up a little bit. A nice long runway for us. What we're getting blowing a little bit. There we go. Slowing down now. Over the threshold. And throttle back. We'll just hold off. Whoa. Well, that was okay. I don't know how to explain that. X-Plane 11 has a ground effects issue, but that's not what that was. That was stalling way before we should have. Let's use reverses because we can. There you go. Flaps in. All right, we're going to replay that from the cockpit and try to figure out why we sunk like a rock, because we're way below max landing weight. Max landing weight is 15.8. We're at like 13.2 or something. So we should have been able to get slower without any issue at all. But obviously we didn't, because we dropped like a rock at the end there. Let's just get out to here, I think. Bring props back to taxi. Whoa, there we go. We'll park right there. Set the parking brake. Clean up a little bit here. Well, actually, let's clean up all this stuff. Let's get everybody ready to deplane. Turn that off, turn that off, turn that off, turn that off. I can stay for now. I don't want to turn off too much more, because then it really screws up after the replay. So let's have a replay from the cockpit, see what in the world happened. Alright, so our weight right now is 13.2, so we should be able to land just fine at this speed. So we're at what, 93, 90, and then bam, that, let's look at that again. I mean, based on how the plane is behaving, we were way too slow. Way too slow. Like, this would have been a good speed to stay at. Like 95. That would have been a perfect speed. But then we like, so I don't know if that's the model or what, but that, let's do that one more time just because that's gonna bug me if I don't check it out. So everything was great at 95. This would have been great. Vertical speed is okay, and then bam, it's like we stalled 6 knots faster than we should have. Huh. Boom. Yeah, 4 knots faster. So I still have to make some adjustments then. I can't really rely on real world data or real world specs because that clearly should not have dropped like that, at least based on my understanding of what I've been reading. So let's get over it and check some actual views of this landing. So we're coming in, everything's okay, and then plop. I'm curious what it's going to look like when we hit. I'm compensating because I felt it, and then, ooh, yuck. I didn't slam the nose wheel though. Let's see what the passengers had to think of that. We'll start it here over the threshold. Ish, just terrible. So there's just a little bit of wind. More wind than SkyVector said, or the MEDAR. Not SkyVector, but anyway. At least we're landing at the right airport, even though the GPS in the sim versus... Oh yeah, there's a lot of crosswind actually. Oh. I guess I didn't notice that. Oops. We'll have to work on that too. Alright, let's hop back to real time. And look at, see we're rolling. Because coming back from replay always messes stuff up. So let's see. See, we gotta turn these off. Oh, see, my landing lights are gone. Last time it was the taxi lights. So, okay, see, look. This is what I said last time. Everything I've touched is now wrong. See that? All my things are gone. Let's hook up external power. And switch this to external power. There's not really external power, though, because our voltage dropped. Anyway. Oh, I didn't stop this live flight time. So, 45 minutes minus, it's about 44-minute flight time. Alrighty, what do we need to do to turn this thing off? We need to turn that off. Oh, I love that sound. Then we'll wait for our props to stop before we let people out, though. It's, we don't want to hurt them. We can open that up, though, so people can complain. Otherwise, why don't those go off? Oh, see, that was another... No, they do turn off because those weren't... Oh, man. Replay really screws up a bunch of stuff. Whatever, not a huge deal. Is that going to kill everything? Yeah, because external power doesn't actually do anything. Whatever, we don't need it. Actually, I want it because of the cabin lights. Otherwise, I think we're good. Let's hop outside. Oh, what's that light? Oh, that's right. They're all screwed up. Never mind. I'm going to bother. That's why I don't do replays after I've parked the plane. I need to do them as soon as we vacate. There we go. All right. Welcome to Perryville. I guess that's what it's called. Perryville, Missouri. Back to the drawing board yet again on landing this thing. So I still need to keep my speed up a little bit if I'm going to land safely and gently, because it's still kind of a nightmare. But I get the hang of it. I used to be able to do an X-Plane 10 just fine, so I'm just still getting used to the modeling and stuff in X-Plane 11. It is a little different, obviously, because I'm having issues, new issues. So we're going to work on that. I'm going to get the next couple legs planned. However, the next video or two, I got some fun stuff planned. We're going to take a small little break from these legs. We've done 3 in a row, so we'll do a few other different types of flights. They should be fun. At least the next 2 will be fun. And, yeah, just enjoy the sunset, although I guess it's a little ways to sunset, but it goes fast. Those of us who live in the north anyway, sun that high in the sky, you only got a couple minutes before you're in the dark. So, thank you for flying with me yet again. Please like, please subscribe to the channel, please share with your friends, and I'll catch you on the next one.